3 days after the lifeless body of Kimani Francis was found in the Guapo River, just miles away from his Tiche village Point Fortin home, it was determined that the cause of death was drowning. According to reports, there was evidence of water in his lungs and chest and mud and soil from the river in his stomach. Point Fortin police confirmed there was no foul play, as the body bore no marks of violence. However, no time of death was determined. Kimani's mother and grandmother were present to officially identify the body. They were escorted from the facility by police. At around 10 a.m. on Monday, Kimani was reported missing as he wandered away from his home. After a massive manhunt by concerned residents, police, fire officials, hunters and soldiers, almost 24 hours later, Kimani's lifeless body was discovered by a concerned resident in the Guapo River, 1 kilometer from his home. Investigations are continuing in the matter. Ayana Carter, TTT News.
Good night, ladies. Good night.
Good night.
So tonight we have a very, serious matter at hand, where it is we are talking about, being our children's guide and dad. So tonight, we can share the different ways in which we can really protect our children. Yeah? It is we can really protect them. So we have Abby, as usual, representing the UK. We have Lisa and we have Sonali. Right, so we have 2 biological mothers on the line and 2 ladies who don't have any children biologically, but we have plenty children. Right? So where shall we start? Do you think that, when persons have children, that they are always ready to be a parent and understand the responsibilities of being a parent? Abby,
Not everybody know.
not everybody. Abby, were you ready? When you had your first child, were you ready? Were you prepared? Do you think that you were responsible enough to have a child?
I was not ready, and it was scary. But I learn as I grow, take it one day at a time, and I learned. Yeah.
All right, Lisa, what about you? Do you think you were ready when you had your first child? Yes, you.
Honestly, when I had my first child, Rojan, I was 28. Honestly, I was frightened because, knowing how strict my dad was, I was afraid to tell him, but eventually I came out and told him. But eventually I was in between because I was 28 and, you still want to live your life, you still want to go out, you still, want to do all the young people thing. So when I got pregnant, I was like, honestly sad. Because basically, your whole life has changed. This baby is growing inside of you, and it's a whole body changing stuff that I honestly wasn't ready for because as a mother and a woman, you always look for your period. And when you see a period, it's like, damn, you're pregnant. You understand? So when I cried and everything, I went to my mom. She said that up now. And everything just fall in place by learning from her and the process from her. And as time goes by, you learn.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So, Sonali, do you think you're ready to become a biological mother? Okay. So,
Honestly and truly, I kind of broke it down into like being prepared for certain things I know for a fact, physically, mentally, and emotionally, yeah, but financially, no. So I wouldn't even put myself to fall in
Yeah,
that situation.
right. Yeah. So yes, so sometimes we may be partially ready and you want to be 100% and more ready or prepared. But sometimes things happen unexpectedly. But whether or not, we have children and biologically or not, we should be able, children, everybody have the responsibility to protect their children. So that's why it's our children. So it's not just biological parents, but, persons who take up that role of being a mother, a father, that support system is very important. So Lisa said, she had her mom there to help her, to guide her. So she didn't say, well, Lisa you weren't ready, but she took the time to guide Lisa along the way, right? And that support system is very, very important. So, like I saying, children cost money. Yes,
Oh, yep.
they do.
Hell, yep.
Definitely do. Right? And some persons may argue that the boys might eat more food, the girls' clothes might be more expensive, It have plenty different so both Abby and Lisa, first one is a son and then they had a daughter, right? So what were the differences in having a male and a female child? What is the difference? A son and a daughter. What is the greatest difference, Abby? What is the greatest?
Different personalities, without a doubt.
All right.
Yeah.
Anything else? Who gave
You
you
can
more
be
trouble?
loud, naughty, miserable, all the annoying good stuff, and then there's one quiet and meek to be worried. Way up to, two total different personalities.
So who would you say give you, more trouble? I know the state must have one given more trouble. Is it the boy or is it the son or your daughter? We will say give you more trouble.
Yeah, my daughter is a naughty one.
Your daughter is naughty one.
She
Lisa.
always, and my son is quite quiet and like to be by himself.
Right. But when they were small, that
sometimes I have to call him up to make sure he's there.
So what about the terrible 2 period? Did they both test the patients at that age?
No, I taught them very well. No. Okay. I mean, when they're home, they can do as they like. But once we're in public, I don't play. So they were well behaved in public. So I don't think I've ever had the terrible 2s in public. Yeah.
Right. Just at home.
Yeah.
Lisa, what about you? Who give more trouble?
My son.
Your son. Why you say your son?
When I had my son, I was glad I had a boy child first because that was my first blessing. Right? He made me a woman. Right? And I'm proud to say that as a mother that is 42 years old. And my son Rojan, he is very unique in his own way, right? His own mindset. Meaning going through puberty at 13, it is a challenge for me, very exciting with him, right? I look forward to all the conversations with him, because he reaches area now where he's watching girls, So it's exciting to talk to him. It's exciting to relate to him. It's exciting to any question he asks, I I answer. But he eats plenty now because if I give him some mommy, I'm hungry. Mommy. So sometimes like Crucial, that eats. It's like, mommy, I'm hungry, I'm growing. As a teenager now. So this morning we had a conversation and mommy, I getting beard, I getting mustache, I getting pimples. So it is I am enjoying it. Motherhood, boy child. But he has reached when he was like 3 years. Wow, it was terrible 3 because it comes like it very demanding. Very, very demanding, meaning that he want this, he want that, he want this, and if he don't get it, he feel he must have it. But the minute I give him that eye, you know what he used to say? Mommy crazy. 3 years. Mommy crazy. Every time I give him my eye, mommy crazy. Mommy crazy. But he wasn't he wasn't he wasn't a rude child, but boys will always be boys, and I'm looking forward with plenty years with him, like the teenager, the after the 18 years, because I told him, I says, here what, when you reach 18 years, you and I are going to drink our first beer together. I carrying you to drink a beer with me. So when you have to go and drink your beer, you wouldn't have to hide. Because your mom, you went with your mom, and I took you out to pick up, and we went to enjoy ourselves. You drink your beer, so you get the experience with me. You ain't have to hide with your friends to drink. No. So you could drink in front of your mother, you have no problem. Right? So I am looking forward to the 18 to the years. I'm looking forward to that exciting years with him. So basically, I will never forget when I dropped him off to it was Gospel Government, he was in first year. And I thought this child would have been crying and bawling. He's like, well, mommy, go ahead. Don't kiss me. I'm a big boy now. Go ahead. I was like, okay. And I left because I said to cry down. Yeah, I said he was going to cry down the place, son, Rojan showed me he was like a little man,
Right.
And when he see me stand up, mommy, go ahead. What you waiting for, mommy? Go ahead. I will be okay. But he's smally and you're frightened because bigger children in the school and you're afraid somebody, trip on them or so I was like, I home and I'm all kind of things that's going through my mind. Is he okay? I called the principal. She said, Lisa, he is good. So when she said that, I said good. And when he came from school, I said, Roger, how was school? Mommy, it was good, but I missed you because you're like my little companion home, But I'm glad that he handled himself good.
Right, nice.
Now
Lion made a comment earlier, Lisa, that Lion said the age, not 18, but 21 is the age for drinking. Right? Abby, what is the legal age to drink alcohol in UK?
21.
21. Right. And it's the same with US?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it have some parents here, they just go ahead with the 18 where you could smoke a cigarette and drink your beers and whatever.
It don't
but it
stop
have
the
some
young ones. It don't stop the young ones from clubbing and drinking.
Oh. Okay.
They say it's 21.
Yeah.
But yeah. Nobody don't listen.
Right. Right. Now, I have a question to ask you. So everybody has the of looking after the child. making sure, as they say, you throw an eye and you look at them very, very carefully, right? And then we have those, of course, who will babysit, as the saying goes. Have you ever had a moment where you just turn it back just to maybe get a glass of water or go to use the washroom and something happened in between that time to the child, like they did something, they fall and lose their head or some kind of strange thing? Anything ever happened in what they would call a split second?
Nothing
Have you ever had any?
dramatic. for me.
Nothing dramatic?
Nothing dramatic on my end. No, no.
No.
Same for me here with godchildren
Personally.
and my nieces and stuff. Same thing for me here with my godchildren and my nieces, even from children that I just happen to babysit. Nothing traumatic because the moment I turn my back, they are directly behind me. They're always following. So I never
Right.
had that experience.
Okay, that is good. Lisa, what about you? You ever turn your back, go to the toilet, and something happened in that split second? So your children or any children you were looking after?
Honestly, it happened with John and it happened with Naomi. It was well, I had them in the crib. Well, not the crib, the playpen that is have now. And I just went outside because the post lady was calling and the dog was barking, right? And I know I have Roshan in the playpen watching Curious George. That was his favorite, right? And
Right.
I don't know, like my conscience something just tell me something with this child, something we start telling the post lady, I need to go inside. When I go inside, I cannot see Roshan. Well, my heart started to beat because my mom was at work, my dad was offshore, right? And I looking for this child. I looking when I watch by my son playpen, he make a hole to come out from the playpen. When I watch, he was in the drawing room lined up on the carpet playing. Well, my heart stopped beating, yes, because Jesus, what was I going to tell my mother? What was Lisa going to tell her mother and tell his father? You understand? When I saw him playing on the carpet with his truck and all of that, my heart stopped beating. With my daughter, one of my girlfriends came to brought something for her, right? And Naomi was sleeping in the crib, and I didn't know she got up. And Naomi was by the kitchen, opening the fridge. So I was like, oh my goodness. I didn't bawl because it's not just a bawl at them, right?
Right.
When she opened the fridge, she took out, the ketchup. The ketchup
Right.
pack. And she almost put it in her mouth. I said, no. So she feel was sweet or whatever. But thank God, it was nothing worse. But since those incidents, I always, like wait till someone come home and I could go and do what I have to do here. It is very frightening at times sometimes.
Right. So like they're saying, the fed up roll off the bed. Yeah, so we know when people if it is with some people they try maybe getting a little bit older, so they may not be using the crib anymore. They put them on a bed and put the pillows to block them off, right? And somehow the pillow kick one side and they come in more to the edge, right? So how often do you think, as mothers, how often should we put the child to sleep wherever you put them to sleep and you believe it's the most secure place, they are safe there? How often do you think you need to go and check up and make sure that everything is okay? How often do you think you need to check on your child? You might go and wash some clothes, cook it, and cleaning, whatever it is you're doing, how often do you think you should go and check up and make sure that everything is okay? Abby, how often?
I don't know. I mean, trying to remember. They were in their crib. They had a crib, so it didn't have nothing really that that they no hazards was around. So I would go and do my thing, and only when they make noise, that's when I check up on them. Yeah, I didn't have no pillow, no blanket, no nothing.
All right.
So didn't have anything that would harm them, you know.
So,
yeah.
okay, so then how, at what age what age you came out of sleeping in the crib? So nobody never made an attempt to climb out the crib?
Okay, did. But
They didn't.
I used to talk to them a lot, even though if they couldn't reply. I know they understand. So I made a lot of scenarios, so when they attempted, I would tell them, look, if you keep on doing this, you're gonna fall. And I would structure a scenario and fall through them off the, for them to see how they could damage themselves. So I do a lot of scenarios with them when they were younger. They will know this, I'm gonna get hurt if I do this, that. So it didn't really had much damages, I should say, when they were young.
Right. Good night, Andy. And good night, Andy. Happy. Now, happy. Lisa, how often do you think you should check on the children when you put them to sleep?
My belief as a responsible parent, to me, as my mom teach me in the nursing, every 5 minutes for me. Because
every 5
you could roll, you could supplicate, you could, so that's when you put them to sleep. You just make sure the crib is empty. You put all the toys outside and it's empty. So when they roll, they're not going to stifle in nothing, But with my mom and her training, every 5 minutes for me. Yes, and my son used to put his foot over the crib.
And climb over.
Yes. So I
have you ever had any experience? Child climbing over?
Surprisingly, no. My nieces and them didn't last. Well, my oldest niece must be only last in the crib for about a month or two before they start putting her on the bed to sleep because she would never stay in the crib. My youngest niece, she too as well never used to stay in the crib. The godchildren, well, they never spent a night with me, but I never had the instance of them climbing out of a crib, rolling over pillows. Yeah. The instance of rolling over pillows, I've experienced that a lot with all of them. And just like Lisa, so every less than every 5 minutes I am checking up on them because I used to panic like they just suddenly stop breathing, even up until they were like all 2 years. I used to literally put my hand to their chest to just feel that movement. So I used to really panic a lot, especially with my nieces. I will still do it even up to now, no matter how old they are. I still do it up to now because of that.
Right. Real serious. Yeah. So Shellan is asking what we think about the 2-year-old boy. So Abby, I do not know if it's all that was happening in Trinidad and Tobago for this week, but we had a situation where, what is Abby doing there?
Abby
Right.
getting
Is
super
that
excited.
do you want and you have codes or something so that when you do a sign, it means something on the live or something? I don't know. I just need to ask.
Probably.
Abby's blushing, so probably.
Fast, you go,
This
Abby.
Probably.
You
probably
go.
seems like a yes. Right?
I'm really
So
trying to find out what's a good boy.
we had a situation where a 2-year-old, the gate to his home was open and he would have left the premises. And a neighbor a bit lower down, she would have seen him. She contacted the police. They gave her some instructions, which she did follow. However, she did not catch up to the child. Right? Now, when the police came, they went house to house to figure out, to ask people if if they have children in the home, if it is to realize any of the children are missing. And this would have been, so that this case would have been a little after 10, and now this may have been a whole half an hour, 45 minutes later that they got to the child's home. And the mother recognized, wait, my son isn't home. My 2-year-old son is nowhere to be found. Right? So that's why I asked, how often do you think you should check up on your children or your baby? Right? Especially the young ones, those toddlers. So you have a 2-year-old. Now they say when he plays quiet. What people say when the children quiet? Because most children are up and about and doing things. When they are quiet, what comes to mind, really?
Mischief.
Lisa,
You drop,
mischief
drop it,
is exactly.
drop to me, basically. Drop what you're doing and just go and see,
Mhm.
because anything could happen. Any mark could play. Any mark could play. Just forget what you're doing if you're on Facebook, and just forget what you're doing and just go. Because some trends be real quiet and some, you have to be on your, according to my grandmother, may she rest in peace, you have to be on your P's and Q's at all times.
Mhm.
At all times. So do you think, okay, so some persons, they may have other children in the home and they decide, okay, the bigger ones can look over after the younger ones. But if it is as everyone is small, how often then really should you check up on them? How long should it take you to realize someone is missing? So what do you really think about the situation with the 2-year-old? So Sonali, what are your real feelings about this whole situation?
Honestly, I would say the mother was a little too distracted because the excuse was that you was sending out resumes. I could understand, yes, the moment you're in a screen, whether it's a laptop, whether it's your phone, a tablet, even down to the TV, could become very distracting, but you can't become that distracted that your place is suddenly quiet and you don't get this sense. Because I believe mothers just have this sense, all mothers will have this sense that something isn't right with your child. And as a mother, you must have had that sense that something is not right, something is missing. You would feel a sudden loss of presence. So I believe she was honestly a little too distracted for a big woman. Because I can't remember the age of what they said the mother was, but for a big woman, she was a
22.
little too 22. Okay, so you're kind of young. You're kind of young, but you was too engrossed in your own self to not notice that your child was missing. That is the best way I could put it. Any more